Thank you. I have someone. Thank you.
All right, sweet.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Good morning, everyone. I am Barb Good, and I welcome everyone here today. This week, we say a warm welcome back to Edith, Wallace as our musician. Please stand as you are able and join in as Edith leads us in our opening song.
No, you don't need, I'm so sorry, you don't need to stand. I think the sing-along song is later, right? Yeah. Is that all? Whatever feels good. Go. Thanks, Barb. It's not your mistake, so you're good. It's not my mistake either, so I think we're just fine. You get to sing Alleluias later. I want to. So I arrived this morning and had a boo-hoo. Just getting here, so it's all good. And it's the lovely lady who needed the Dragonfly song. Is she here? Yes. I have a CD and the lyrics for you. And you didn't need to hear that, but this is me getting through. I'm just trying to find my space to sing for you. So. This song is called, have we got sound in the microphone? Have we sound in the microphone? I'm in the wrong century. I'm meant to be walking from castle to castle and sending tiny messages on pigeons' ankles. So I was watching a film, and it was talking about how people saw God. And so this is the song I wrote. It's called Like a River. Some say God is fire and vengeance, and some say God is light and love. Kneel in prayer and gazing skywards. Some say God's on a cloud above. And I say God is like a river, endless and eternal flow, and each of us a rush of water, and drop by drop along we go, drop by drop on the river's flow. In our times of trial and conflict, each says God is on their side. By their shoulders into battle, and just who'll win, well, God decides. But I see God is like a river, endless and eternal flow, and each of us a rush of water, as drop by drop along we go, drop by drop in God's perfect flow. We are tumbling waters, we are high white waters, we are gentle waves to a rocky shore. We are ebb and flow, all this and more. Some say, why did God forsake us in our times of trial and pain? And some say that when God embraced us through our trials, that love remains. Perfect waves upon a river where endless and eternal flow, each of us a rush of waters, drop by drop, and off we go, drop by drop in God's loving flow, drop by drop in the perfect flow.
Wow, Edith. That was beautiful, beautiful. We all needed that wonderful, gentle grounding this morning. So, you too. Sometimes, we shift things up a little, and it's just perfect. Good morning, everyone. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and I welcome you all here today to Unity of New Westminster. A beautiful spring day with the sun shining and the birds singing and that smell of spring, that just the best part of spring for me is that smell. It takes me back to sitting at the baseball field watching my son pretend to play baseball. And anytime I smell that, which I'm sure some people get allergies, but I love it, sorry. It is my honor and privilege to be the minister here at Unity of New Westminster, this amazing place, this community of love and support, of growth and empowerment. And I welcome each one of you here today. And for those of us who are joining on YouTube either now or sometime in the future, a very warm welcome to each of you from each of us. And so everyone, you know the drill. Say hi, morning everybody. It is wonderful that you are here. Thank you for joining us today. The Unity movement offers empowering ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom to be found in faith traditions all over the planet. We also recognize and draw on the wisdom that is found in books, in movies, in song, in story, in our life experiences. We recognize that there is universal insight to be found everywhere. And so we embrace it all. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. And all are celebrated here. Let us begin our service today in a time of affirmative and centering prayer. As we begin, we acknowledge with gratitude that we are gathered on the traditional and ancestral territory of the Kakite First Nation. And we give thanks for First Nation peoples everywhere, for their custody of this land, for their love of this land, for their connection to this land. We believe that there is only one presence, one power, one intelligence that some call God, others call Allah, others call the universe, creative energy, the force, creator, Mother, Father, God, Gaia. Thousands of names to appreciate the creative power that forms us, that binds us, that lives in us and as us. And we embrace the idea that there is no spot that this energy is not. And that includes us. That we are part of and creations of and expressions of universal energy. And it is from this idea that we are all part of God, that there is no spot that God is not, that we feel our connection to each other. Connection to the people we are closest to, certainly, but also to embrace our connection to the people we don't know. That we are all part of the one. That we are one. And it is from this connection and this sense of belonging that we send a blessing of love, a blessing for peace, a blessing for contentment and healing to every being on this planet. We imagine our love radiating from within us and outward to the people who are closest to us. And then further and further. And we imagine our whole planet Earth surrounded in a warm blanket of love. A place of comfort and peace. And as we hold this idea, we give thanks for our peace, for our comfort, and for the vision that we can extend it to all. And so it is. So let it be. Amen. I'm going to invite whoever is reading the daily word, Maxine.
Hello, I'm Maxine, and this is today's daily word, and it is comfort. Loving memories comfort me. There may be days or maybe even weeks on the calendar when I find myself mysteriously feeling melancholy or blue, only to realize the anniversary of someone or something I have loved and lost is approaching. Even when I don't realize it outright, a part of me remembers and responds. I can honor these feelings as a way to honor the people and places that have taught me and helped me evolve. Welcoming my feelings brings deep and abiding comfort. I carry those people and places I love with me in the things I do, keeping their spirit alive. Gradually, I find smiles within the sadness. Revisiting treasured memories reveals the love within the loss. The presence of God is found within the gift of each moment, and I find comfort through my grateful heart. And that's from the passage today is from Psalm 119, verse 76. Let your steadfast love become my comfort according to your promise to your servant. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure why I had chosen this song this morning, and then you read the thing, so now it all makes sense. So, this song is called Mountains. There are mountains on our journeys, no way around them, no way through. We find the strength to climb our mountains. We reach the top and breathe in the view. There are times when we crash and crumble, bent and broken where we lie. But something calls us up those mountains and through the clouds to the clear blue sky. I have stumbled, I have fallen, found my feet just to fall again. But something calls me up my mountain, a power that's stronger than the pain. And life was never straight and narrow. Clear turns right and blind curves wrong. Looking back on the path we've traveled, every step has made us strong. I have stumbled, I have fallen, found my feet, then I fall
So as we prepare ourselves to hear today's message, I invite you to join me in a time of centering and quiet and meditation, a time where we open our hearts, open our minds, and relax as we give ourselves this gift of a peaceful pause. And so I invite you, if it's comfortable for you, to close your eyes. If it's more comfortable to leave your eyes open, just let them relax gently. And often, the kindest way to calm our bodies, calm our minds, is to become aware of our breath. Breathe in and notice your breath. Breathe out and notice your breath. Notice the temperature of the air as it enters your body. Notice the difference as it leaves. Cool air in, warm air out. The ebb and flow, the give and take of life. And with every breath, allow your body to become heavier. Allow your mind to slow. And hear these words as if they are yours. Heaven is a place that exists in my mind. It is a place of joy, a place where I am happy, where I am free to love, free to live, free to be who I am. I imagine the freedom I would feel if today could be the last day that I judge myself. If today could be the last day that I judge others. I imagine the freedom that comes from not being concerned about what others may think of me. I imagine the freedom of realizing that I am not responsible for another's opinion. Whenever I feel fear, I choose to remember that life is about what is happening now. The past is a memory. The future, a possibility. And I receive the gift of life now. I grant myself permission to be happy and to enjoy my life. I am free to be who I really am. And from that freedom, I learn to love myself more deeply. Because I love myself, I love everything around me. Because I love myself, I see love wherever I go. Because I love myself, I give love unconditionally. I create heaven on earth. I am here to live, to love, to be happy. I create heaven on earth. As I invite you to rest in silence, allow those words to fill your heart. I create heaven on earth. I create heaven on earth.
We are unknown strangers on a street, pass each other by, never meet. If you catch my smile, know it's true. I just saw the face of God in you. Once we all were born, lived our first breaths, journey side by side, meet in death. Might I waken up to see the baby new, innocent the face of God in you. you find in peace this holy day. Quiet in our truths, we kneel to pray. How can we shout, enemy rend in two? I have met the face of God in you. Who am I revealed in guilt ashamed? Sometimes bowed and broken, sometimes blamed. Standing at the mirror, shall I set love free and catch a tiny glimpse of God in me? And catch a tiny glimpse of God in me. Standing at the mirror, set love free. Catch a tiny glimpse of you in me.
Another exceptionally beautiful song, Edith. Thank you. Last week, we began with the first week of a 4-week series in which we are examining Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. And the idea behind this book is that as children, we are taught how to behave, what to say, what to think, what's appropriate. And in essence, we are domesticated, which is a nasty sounding word, but the idea that we are essentially trained to be a part of society. And we are taught these behaviors and thoughts and ways of being through a system of essentially rewards and punishments. So if you're a good girl, you get the candy, and if you're a naughty boy, you get sent to your room, and we can all identify with variations of those rewards and punishments. And over time, as children, we grow up. And we start internalizing those messages. And so what was imposed on us becomes something that unwittingly and unknowingly we are actually imposing on ourselves. And these take the form in this book of creating unconscious agreements that we make about how the world looks and our part in it. And what the premise of the book is that in doing so, we have forgotten who we are. We have suppressed some of our innate, inborn joy and vibrancy and vitality in order to conform so that we can be accepted and rewarded and fed and be part of the community and so on. And as part of that domestication, we suffer because we've forgotten how to be joyful, how to be free. And the invitation is that we then break some of these inborn agreements to make new agreements that will open us to more freedom. And the book suggests 4 agreements. If we implement the first 2, then Don Miguel Ruiz suggests that we will cure 75% of our agreements that we've made with ourselves that we don't know about. And so today we're going to look at number 2. So if we get 1 and 2 right, we're pretty good. That's like almost the Pareto effect, right? 80% of our suffering comes from 20% of our causes. 80-20 rule is basically what that is. So 75% is getting pretty close. I can live with that if we can make it work. And so the first agreement, which we looked at last week, is be impeccable with your word. And briefly, what that means is don't do anything that goes against yourself. It's not be impeccable with what you say. That is part of it. But it's also be impeccable about who you are and what you create around yourself and what you allow yourself to experience. So that's what we explored last week. And for those who want to review that, it's on YouTube. There's a link on the website. It's worth watching. Really, it's worth watching. Today, we look at the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. Now, I don't know about you, but I find this exceptionally difficult. Have you ever been wandering around, having an absolutely lovely day, and then someone says something, maybe not even to you, but in your hearing, and it just saps the energy and the life right out of you? You ever had that happen? Things are going great until. This agreement talks about that. And the whole premise of it is that nothing that anybody does to you, nothing that anybody says to you, nothing that happens to you is about you. Let me say that again. Nothing is about you. When somebody else is upset at you, it's not about you. When a car accident happens, it's not about you. And so, how do we make sense of that? Well, last week I told you a story about a mom and a daughter. And that mom had been working all day, and she was tired. And she came home, and her 5-year-old daughter was having an absolute time of her life, singing and dancing away. And the mother, in her irritation, told the kid, "Stop singing, you have a horrible voice. I just need some space. I need to be quiet." And the child listened to her mother, not just then, but until she was in her 20s. She believed that message. She was 5. So we expect that a child of 5 years old is going to react in that way, which underscores the importance of us being kind to children and speak upliftingly to children, because at 5 years old, you don't know any better. And so when mom says you have a horrible voice, you're going to believe it and stop singing and stop wanting to speak and all the other harm that can be done to our self-esteem because of that. But when we're adults, often we end up acting like that 5-year-old. And just like that 5-year-old bought in to her belief, her mother's message about her not being able to sing. So often, even as adults, somebody says something to us and we buy it. And we agree with it. And it hurts. And so the idea in this message is for us to break the agreement that someone else's opinion needs to be adopted by us. In the book, taking things personally is referred to as personal importance. And Ruiz very bluntly calls this idea of taking things personally, and I quote, the maximum expression of selfishness. And I end quote. The reason he says it's the maximum expression of selfishness is because we all assume that everything is all about me. And the thing is that each one of us operates like that. And so when someone says something that sounds like a criticism or a complaint or a harsh word that is directed at us, we see it from our point of view, we receive it from our point of view, and then we get upset. Because we're at some level, what we're hearing is, you don't matter. And we all have a need to matter because we know in our hearts that we do. We matter. And so when someone else is saying something that feels hurtful to us, the underlying message is maybe I don't matter. It's scary. And so we react by being hurt, by taking it personally. So one of the things that we want to remember is that we, each one of us, live from our own point of view. And we think that the other person's behavior is a response to us. But what we don't recognize and forget is that where they're coming from is their point of view. And what they're speaking about is a response from their point of view. And none of us see the world the same way. We want to remember that a point of view is a view from a point. And there are 8 billion points of view and climbing on the planet today. Nothing other people do is about you. I find myself resisting that. And I imagine that some of you are feeling the same way. So let's look at two aspects of this. One is when our need to be right means another person is made wrong. And the other is when another person's need to be right is directed at us, and we are made to feel wrong. And I want to ask you to think of 4 letters as we do this. A, B, C, and D. The first is to allow for differences of opinion. Allow. The second is to be a funnel, not a sponge. And I'll talk about each of these briefly. The C is to control your own lane, your own response, your own behavior. And the fourth letter, D, is to distinguish between a dialogue and a diatribe. And I hear some giggling. So let's look at this. When our need to be right makes another person wrong, when we're doing this, we are actually taking somebody else's behavior personally, and we're going to make sure that they know what they've done to affect a situation. So now they've done something, we're taking it on. So how can we make it not about us when this happens? When somebody does something that we see as wrong? The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is allow for a difference of opinion and add a period. So this is what I mean. I didn't return somebody's phone call, or they didn't return a phone call, my phone call, comma. And that means they don't like me, they're disrespectful, they are irresponsible, they are, insert judgment, 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 judgment here. We don't know any of that part. The only part we know is they didn't return a phone call. Anything after that period is a story that I am making up, or the comma is a story that I am making up. And I don't know what's going on. They are, let's say, they are conservative, comma, and that means ... They are liberal, and that means ... They are Muslim, and that means ... They are fundamentalist Christian, and that means. When we add a period after what it is that we can all agree on, then we actually allow for these differences of opinion, because we don't know. And think of, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Sometimes it's just a thing. It's not about me unless I choose to make it about me. And then, be a funnel, not a sponge. Or another way of saying it is, become an observer. So you see this going on. Unless you want to get hooked in and add to drama, just notice. And notice yourself getting upset. And ask yourself the question, does this need to be about me? Try saying, that's interesting. Somebody's saying and spewing something and you're just like, ugh. That's interesting. That's another opinion. A different point of view. And this means that you need to control your own lane, or want to control your own lane. Control your own response. Because it's only when we as individuals hook ourselves in that we add to the drama, that we add to the hell, that we escalate. Because then we start making things not just about the other person, but about us and our interaction with the other person. And it just blossoms and blooms in a sometimes not very pleasant way. So control your own response. Stay in your own lane. What if you allowed them to have their opinion? What if you allowed them to have their own behavior? What if I allowed myself to know that what they're doing does not need to define me? This is particularly true of people in spouses and children where, your kids might be doing something and you're just like, oh, this is going to reflect on me. What are they thinking about me? Or your partner does something and you just want to go and hide your head because somehow you think it's going to be a reflection on you. And so you get in there, try to fix it, try to mend it, and normally that just helps to blow things up even more because now there's more people involved. To remember that other people have points of view. Allow them their points of view. Add the period. This happened. I don't need to be part of it. Be an observer. Don't absorb it. Don't get sucked in. Allow it to pass through. What if I needed to remember or could remember that their behavior is their behavior? I don't need to make it mine. And dialogue and diatribe. It's interesting that they both have this dia, which is two. A dialogue is where we actually talk to each other, and part of talking to each other and talking with each other includes listening. So to distinguish between dialogue and diatribe, remember, dialogue includes some silence on each person's part, where they're actually listening. Diatribe is just another word for rant. And so when we are in a place where we are ranting, where we're the ones doing the ranting, try and remember that there's no listening going on either part. Because what happens when we're in this place of diatribe where we're just letting it all hang out? Well, think about what happens when you're the one on the receiving end. How long does it take you to stop listening, to check out? And what we want to do is talk to each other, to talk with each other, to listen to each other. So when you are in a place where you find yourself ranting, try and remember to dialogue rather than diatribe. And what happens when it's another person yelling at us? Does anybody feel it right here? You ever had that experience where someone has said something and it's either in anger and loud, or it's mean and it just hits you? Anybody experience that? Do you all know what that feels like? Many of our distressing interactions happen when we don't comply with another person's vision of what we should do. And yet, if we can separate ourselves from the hurt and from that visceral reaction that we have, if we can become an observer, then we might be able to realize that the other person is dealing with their beliefs, with their viewpoint, with their agreements, and they have nothing to do with us. And if it wasn't us standing here, taking it on, it would just be a matter of time before it would be someone else standing here, taking it on, as long as the other person allowed it. When people are angry, when they're unkind, when they're controlling, when they're judgmental, they're simply trying to get rid of their emotional poison. And if we accept it, if we sponge-like accept it, then yes, it helps relieve their poison, what they're experiencing, but we've taken it in. Power and freedom comes from this idea of Teflon, non-stick, funnel, not a sponge. Allow them to have their rant. I don't need to take it on. So allow. Let them have their thing. I'm moving over here. Move out of the way. Be an observer, not an absorber. Be a funnel, not a sponge. Notice what's happening. And don't allow any of that energy to come to you. And that means that you are responsible for you. Control your own lane. Control your response. Control your energy. And that may mean removing yourself for a while. It may mean saying, I see that you're upset. I'm going to leave so that you can deal with that yourself. I'm willing to talk with you when you're ready to talk and have a dialogue. So if you're hearing a diatribe, you're hearing someone rant, ding, ding, ding. You don't need to expose yourself to it. Don't take it personally. What Ruiz says, excuse me, if you do not take it personally, you are immune in the middle of hell. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell is the gift of this agreement. So, when our need to be right, excuse me, it makes another person wrong, and we're the ones delivering the diatribe. We're the ones veering into their lane. We're the ones who are absorbing. When our need to be right is forcing the other person to be wrong because we're not allowing, And let's take a step back. Allow. Add that period. It doesn't have to be about them. Doesn't have to be about us. Be a funnel, not a sponge. Control your own reactivity. And make sure that you are hearing and delivering dialogue. This is true whether we are going out and delivering the message or whether we are the people who are receiving it. Notice how often your suffering begins after the comma. Whether it's giving, and so we need to jump in, or whether it's receiving. They are saying something to us. Not us, it would be someone else. It's only when we think that it is directed to us and we take it on and we accept the poison as ours that we suffer. And so, please, play with this idea of not taking it personally. Play with the idea that anything that is happening to you is not about you. That it is about the other person and the agreements that they made, their life view. And allow different points of view. Because a point of view is simply a view from a point. Don't take anything personally. It is the road to freedom. I bless you.
Oh. Well, I think I've spent the morning judging my higgledy-piggledy self this morning, so this was a good talk. I'm going to change songs. Sorry, we'll save the other one for another day. I happen to have it in my 21st century iPad, so maybe it is good being in this century. I realized at the bottom it's written October 30th, 2022 for Unity New Westminster. So I've played it for you before, but I think it's the right song. Oh. In the wrong key. It's called Sometimes. And I love this chord. And you're going to hear it a lot in this song. And the thing that's so lovely about this chord is it's kind of not quite right. Can you hear that? That little sort of thing that's hanging there? And I wanted to have a chord that was a picture of how I see myself on occasion. It's this chord, because I think it's lovely. But sometimes I trip over my 2 feet. Sometimes I don't think before I speak. Sometimes I hide myself away, try to find the answers to my day. Sometimes I know I'm doing fine. Did you hear the change of the chord in that little line? I'm aging and dusty like a good red wine, or so it seems. And sometimes all my sometimes birth a dream. And there's that chord again. Sometimes we know we're meant to fly. Sometimes we reach to touch the sky. Sometimes we learn to trust our wings, all those very ordinary little things. Sometimes our life is a tricky land. We change our mind and change our plans. We're in between. And sometimes all those sometimes birth our dreams. And I know that we are made of love, miracles we're all made of. And I know our hearts are beating drums of days we've lived and days to come. We open up our souls to see the endless, timeless, blessed be. We find our strengths and know our will, be it stepping up or standing still. So I'm busy singing this song and I think, oh no, I may have sung this a few weeks ago. I can't remember. And so I'm standing here with a smile on my face as if I've got everything right, and isn't this great? And inside I'm having a little dialogue with myself about how, oh no, they've heard the song before. So sometimes I fall on my knees in prayer. Sometimes I wonder what's in the big out there. Sometimes I'm bathed in holy light, and I see we are stars in the black of night. Sometimes I'm rushing in the ebb and flow, and I know exactly where to go. Water in a stream. And sometimes all those sometimes birth our dreams. And I know that we are one in love, miracles we're all made of. And I know our hearts are beating drums of days we've lived in days to come. We open up our souls to see the endless, timeless blessings be. We find our strength and know our will, be it stepping out or standing still. So here I am singing the song again and very happy, but then I've realized, oh no, I left my glasses on my head. And people are going to be saying, oh, why does she have her glasses on her head? And I worry about that while I'm in the middle of being in this lovely place of getting to share. And if only my arms were thinner, and if only I was thinner, and if only I could come in and not have arguments with the sound guy because I'm trying to get the right darn microphone. And the people who came in this morning were busy yakking away while I was trying to get the levels right, and all of those things just running through my head. Because I'm just trying to get it right. Sometimes we're passion, joy, and fire. Sometimes we live our grand desires. Sometimes you'll reach to hold me close, or wave goodbye and let me go. Sometimes we laugh right through our tears. We'll claim our courage, release our fears. Oh, my darling, bless you. And sometimes, although sometimes birth a dream come true. And sometimes, although sometimes birth a dream come true. Barb, it's your turn.
Thank you. That's hard to follow. Okay. Please join us on Zoom every Monday for our weekly prayer meeting. We check in with each other, rest, and renew ourselves with a guided meditation. And we read the names of the people on our prayer list. If you would like your name added to the prayer list, or you want to add someone's name to the list, then please fill in a prayer request slip, and place it in the offering basket, or send us an email, or submit a prayer request on our website. We leave the names on our list for 2 months, then we forward the names to Silent Unity, which is Unity's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week prayer vigil. And phone line located at Unity Village near Kansas City, Missouri. Today is the last Sunday of the month, and we celebrate the birthdays in the month on the last Sunday of each month. We also have amazing potluck lunches on the last Sunday of every month. So please join us on today for food and birthday cake. And after the potluck, please plan to stay for Cindy's Creative Cafe and Karaoke. This event also happens on the last Sunday of each month. Several people stay to sing karaoke, and it's also a chance for you to paint, draw, tell a story, or express yourself artistically in some other way. Admission is by donation. If you want to paint, the cost is $10 to pay for the material. Here's your chance to connect with friends, share your talents, and learn something new. Join us every last Sunday of each month from 12:30 to 3:30. All are welcome. Thank you, Cindy, for your inspiration. Please join us on Zoom this Wednesday, May 31st at 7 p.m. for Wisdom Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, Reverend Rhona will host a discussion about the previous Sunday's message. It is a time for us all to explore and share ideas. If you want to hear the talk again, a video replay of the service is available on our YouTube channel. You can search Unity of New Westminster on YouTube, or you can click the link on our website. This Wednesday, we'll discuss the message we heard today. Don't take anything personally. Please plan to join us on Zoom. The Zoom link will be on the website and also in our weekly email newsletter, as we connect with each other and share ideas about the previous week's talk. All are welcome. We are grateful for your gifts which support our ministry. Many of our community contribute with pre-authorized payments. So if you're not adding anything to the basket, please bless it silently as it passes you. As we sing our blessing song, please bring to mind something you're grateful for. We are all so blessed. Blessing song.
So blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
And we are so blessed. Thank you, Edith, for your amazing words today, your song, your inspiration, your vulnerability. Sometimes, the power of sometimes is, it's my battery that's dead. The power of sometimes is, oh, maybe it isn't. Sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That in itself actually is a Sunday message. The power of sometimes. And to not take it personally. Oh, today's message. Always the invitation. Barb, thank you for your beautiful words and the way you shared the announcements today. It was wonderful. Maxine, thank you as well for reading the daily word for us. Glenn and Ludwina at the back, thank you for your work on audio and visual and working with multiple microphones in multiple places with different ways of doing things is no small challenge. So I really appreciate you. Thank you. And Lidwin does the camera work. And so if you ever look onto our YouTube channel and you see things flipping around, that's all that's being done at her station there with what feels like high-tech central for us anyway, at the back. So thank you for your service here. And thank you to Cindy for helping us greet everyone today. And I'm pretty sure Leah and Moira were doing things in the kitchen. And what we realize every week is that it takes a village. And we all contribute in various ways. We contribute either with direct acts of service, or we contribute financially, or we contribute simply by being here. And we are so blessed, and I am so grateful for all of you. Shall we move into a circle and sing our peace song and then our prayer for protection? We'll work a little bit around the music information. You can make it perfect.
I think we're fine.
We are the love of God. We are the power